Hello and welcome to the Grounds Crew. My name is Alex.
Alex Sr. Bo.
This is Paul. I do have my brother Ken here tonight that will also be doing some comments from time to time.
Alrighty, and so today we are going to be projecting how the AL West and NL West, if time permits, is going to look in 2025. So we're going to start off in the AL West. We're going to start with the Angels. Last season they finished 63-99. They finished last in the AL West. And excuse me, they brought in a lot of guys. They were really active in free agency. They brought in Yusei Kikuchi, Jorge Soler, Kenley Jansen, Travis d'Arnaud, Kyle Hendricks, Yoan Moncada, Kevin Newman, JD Davis, and Tim Anderson. And they lost Patrick Sandoval, Griffin Canning, Matt Thias, Eric Wagaman, Matt Moore, and Kevin Pillar. Those guys were either traded or left in free agency. So, Paul, do you have a website up that shows what their projected lineups are?
I do. Their projected lineup starting off would be Ward, and then after that would be, I probably won't pronounce it right, but Rengifo.
Rengifo.
Okay. And third would be Trout. Fourth is Solier. Fifth is Chanel.
Shanuel.
Chanel.
FAU guy.
Oh, okay. Cool. Six would be Ohapi. Seven would be Adele. Eight would be Moncada. And nine would be Newman.
No, okay. The website I'm looking at has it arranged a little different, except they have Tim Anderson starting at short instead of Newman.
Okay.
But
now, one of the things that it says underneath here is that they're moving Mike Trout over to right this year.
I see that as well.
And they are really hiccuping who they're going to use in center field. So they're going to have a combination of three people that they're going to use in center field. And so it should be interesting to see how that designates who's going to bat where.
That will be interesting, yes.
I do think that if Trout can stay healthy, which is always the problem, if he can stay healthy, he's always a threat to be a big bat. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yes.
In a projected lineup for the Angels, you always do have to consider the possibility of Trout not being there.
That is very true.
At least for some games. So who is his backup?
Right now, according to Fangraphs, it says their backup outfielder is Mickey Moniak.
Yeah, they have three names for center, and that's Adele, Moniak, and Ward. And I'm assuming they can sort of switch them around wherever they need to. It's interesting. I just heard a player say that it's not as easy as you think to go from one outfield to the next, because you just see the game from a different perspective, and the ball comes from a different angle.
Yeah.
And so it's not as easy as you think just to switch around from position to position. So it would be interesting to see how that will affect them throughout the year if they have to play in possibly multiple places throughout the year.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably going to try to figure out what they're doing by the end of spring. But if the regular season comes around and it's just not clicking, they're going to have to change it up.
Right.
One thing I wanted to talk about this lineup was the missing piece of Anthony Rendon and how this is going to go down as one of the worst contracts in history. Anthony Rendon signed massive deal in 2019, December 2019 with the Angels. And during this time period, I saw something on Instagram that said, during this time period, Anthony Rendon has played less games than Ted Williams did during World War II when he served.
Oh, wow.
Oh my! Oh
That's a terrible statement. Wow.
Yeah.
man!
Wow.
So Ted Williams played more baseball during World War II when he served his country than Anthony Rendon has done during this contract.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good.
Nice.
So
How long is his contract?
So
How
we
long is that contract?
I can look it up.
did we already talk about the pitching line, starting lineup?
No, not quite.
No,
Not
we're
yet.
about to get to that.
I will say one thing I do like here is seeing the catcher batting sixth and not ninth. So that tells me that he has a little bit of a bat.
Rendon's contract is 7 years, $245 million.
Yeah, he didn't quite live up to it.
He's a free agent in 2027.
He needs to have a massive year this year.
Yeah, he does, and he's starting off on the 60-day IL.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's gonna have a massive year.
Yeah, really. What's he on the AL for?
Hip surgery that happened in February.
Oh, boy.
He done.
Hey, now.
He done.
All right. Well, let's go on over to their rotation.
Yes, their rotation, as I'm seeing it, is Yusei Kikuchi, Jose Soriano, Tyler Anderson, Kyle Hendricks, and Reed Detmers. And they have a couple of notable bullpen arms. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do say I have Kenley Jansen, Ben Joyce, who throws like over 100 miles an hour every pitch, Brock Berg, Jose Quijada. That's all the ones I'm going to name for now. But yeah, so do you guys have any thoughts on that rotation? I mean, it's obviously an improvement since last year because two of the guys are new. Two new guys for free agency.
Wow.
Well, I'm just gonna go right out there on the prediction. They were 63 and 99 last year.
Yeah.
Prediction is that they're gonna be 64 and 98 this year.
Oh, one win more.
Or less. Pretty much every year.
Paul, you think they're going to have a better record this year than they did last year?
Oh, and I'm also going to predict that Mike Trout still stays there.
Oh, he's not going to get traded? Okay.
That's why, because I really see those two teams being stellar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I see the Angels not moving much. So I don't know about 64, but I'm not going to predict that bad. But hopefully they don't get 100 losses. I'll put it that way. I hope they don't get 100 losses.
Oh, yeah.
I'll predict this for them. They'll do better than the White Sox.
Wow.
That's not saying much.
It's so helpful.
I think the Angels' pitching has improved enough that they'll get to 70 wins. That's what I think.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
I do think because they made a lot of. I do think they will be better next season, especially if Trout is healthy. They will do better.
Yes,
than 63.
yes, I agree with
Well,
that.
that's the key.
That's literally the key to the team. But even if he's not there, I think they did enough to at least, like you said, sir, get to at least 64. I think they'll have a better year. I asked ChatGPT to tell me what they project their record is going to be. And ChatGPT said that according to Fangraphs, that the Angels are going to place 75 and 87.
Oh, wow.
I think that number's awfully high, and I think
I do
that
too.
number is also based on.
Yes, and it would be interesting to know the projection with a healthy Trout and an unhealthy Trout.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking a 12-game increase. That's pretty high. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't see it that high, even with Trout.
That's a little high. Yeah, I think that's a little high, especially just with the teams above them. Is what I'm saying.
the guy making.
Well, let me ask you this: the one who predicted they would get 75 wins, did they still have them projected as being last into the division?
I do not know yet.
All right, let's move on then and find out. Let's go to Oakland.
Yeah, no. Hey, watch your mouth. Watch your
Excuse
mouth.
me. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
What was that?
Yeah, let's go to the Athletics.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Athletics. Yes.
Unbelievable. Can't believe you let
Sacramento
Oakland come out of your
Athletics.
mouth. Come on.
Sacramento Athletics, if you want to call them anything.
Oakland, Oklahoma, Oklahoma.
Alrighty. So
And I don't think we have time to go through everything that they picked up.
Yeah.
they were facing threats that they wouldn't receive their what's the word for it? Revenue sharing. Revenue sharing. They were facing threats that they weren't going to receive their revenue sharing because they weren't spending enough money. So they were literally forced to spend money this offseason. And they brought in Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, Gio Urshela, Jose Leclerc, Luis Urias, and TJ McFarland. And the two guys they lost are Scott Alexander and Ross Stripling. A lot more additions than subtractions.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not playing in Oakland anymore.
And they're playing in a minor league ballpark.
So my other brother went to Oakland, and he said that stadium was so bad that they didn't even have places to put your soda. That's how bad off the place was.
I believe it.
I did see where the dimensions of the stadium where the Athletics will be playing is pretty fair. I think center field was like 403 feet. It was a shorter distance into right field. I think it was 325 feet, if I remember, into right field. I can't remember what it was in left. So it's a good size park they'll be playing in.
Okay, but it still only has the capacity for 7,000 people.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be dead honest. I don't know one person on their lineup.
All right, so their lineup that I have up here is Lawrence Butler, Brent Rooker, J.J. Bleday, Shea Langoliers, Tyler Soderstrom, Zach Geloff, Seth Brown, Gio Urshela, and Jacob Wilson. And their rotation is Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, J. Pierce Sears, Osvaldo Bido, and Mitch Spence. And some of the notable bullpen members: Mason Miller, Jose Leclerc, and Dylan Floro. So this team did a lot better than they did in the previous season. In 2023, I believe they had the worst record in MLB. And they improved. Last season, they had a 69-93 record. This year, they've made those additions, and they're going to be playing in a minor league ballpark for their home games. So now, do we think that the Athletics will be a 70 win or up team?
Yes,
I
do.
I really think so. I think the Oakland Athletics is going to be a surprise team in the West. Really in Major League Baseball, period.
Well, first off, there is no Oakland Athletics. I do have to correct you on that.
That's exactly right. There is no Oakland Athletics. But I think you're going to see them being greatly improved. Now, I'm not saying they're going to make it to the playoffs, but I think you're going to see a greatly improved team when they take the field.
I don't know how much better their moves make them. I do think they did get better, and I think their record will show it, but I don't know by how much.
I would be willing to give them 75 wins.
Oh, yeah, I would.
75?
Yeah, because they're 69 wins last year. I'd be willing to give them 75.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. But I don't know if they'll get that many, but I do think their record will be improving. So I asked ChatGPT again, and it gave me the Fangraphs answer again of 65 and 72. They think they're going to go 4 games worse.
5. Wow.
So they got them going down.
Oh, wait. My bad. It says they will win 65 and between 65 and 72.
Okay.
I do think they'll be better than the Angels. I definitely.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. The Angels are Well, again, it depends if Trout's healthy.
Does.
If Trout is healthy, I think the Angels have a better team than the Athletics.
So something my brother, by the way, I don't know if I even said his name, but my brother here is Ken. Something him and I have talked about. Wouldn't it be something if somehow we ended up in the American League of Oakland against Tampa Bay
Ironic.
at the divisional stuff at the end?
Hmm.
But two teams that don't have their own park.
Would that be so?
So I mean, I don't see it happening for either team.
I don't
but
either.
Anyway, it just would be funny. But
the ALCS in minor league parks.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
That would be hilarious. Oh my goodness.
That would be so funny. All right, we ready to go on to Rangers?
Yes, the Texas Rangers are the latest team. Let's see.
By the way, I saw a projection. I can't remember the guy's name, but one of the Athletics is projected to be possibly Rookie of the Year.
That's probably Jacob Wilson. He was a top prospect.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
In the big leagues last year. Okay.
Wow.
So, who did the Rangers acquire? They re-signed Nathan Eovaldi, and they acquired Jock Peterson, Jake Berger, Kyle Higashioka, Chris Martin, Jacob Webb, Hobie Milner, Shaw Armstrong, Luke Jackson, Robert Garcia, Luis Cervello, and Kevin Pillar, who I believe announced his retirement and then came back and said, "No, I'll play with him on the Rangers."
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then they lost Nathaniel Lowe, Carson Kelly, Grant Anderson, Jose Leclerc, who we just talked about. He's on the Athletics. Kirby Yates, Max Scherzer, Andrew Heaney, Andrew Chafin, and Jose Urena. So a lot of moves in the offseason for them. And do you have what their lineup is going to be?
I do. Saman, Seager, Langford, Garcia, Pedersen, Hung, Berger, Heim, and Carter. Hung.
Josh Jung.
I like Hung.
I'm not going to even address that.
Yeah.
Their projected rotation is Eovaldi, DeGrom, Gray, John Gray, Tyler Mahle, and Cody Bradford. And the bullpen arms basically got mentioned in who they added. They got a lot of guys. Chris Martin being one of them, who was on Boston, and I was sad to see that they didn't try to re-sign him. I like him. Anyways, so what do we think of this lineup?
Going back to that lineup, one of the things that's reading here is the outfield spots are majorly up for grabs. So they're hoping to get those put together during this spring season.
Is Hung going for one of those?
He's a third baseman.
Oh. Being up for grabs.
Oh my word. Now you're getting that. Oh, weird. Okay, as of now, we're off the air. And so, but they're saying that I guess last year they had quite a few problems of people getting hurt throughout their outfield, and a lot of those people are back. So it just makes it that much harder to know who's up for grabs and who they're going to have. So I hopefully that was part of their problem last year was injuries, because I mean there's always that year after the World Series. How do you do? People are even saying it about the Dodgers this year. I really do hope. I mean, when you look at their lineup, you've got some top names there that there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to even come up some in that division.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that they're going to overtop Seattle and Houston.
Here's what I will say: if they get a healthy season from DeGrom, their rotation gets a big upgrade because they had
Agreed.
DeGrom and he just hasn't been healthy.
Agreed. Agreed.
Another thing is, I
What are they
saw,
going to do?
huh?
What are they going to do to make sure he stays healthy?
Limit his pitch count, his innings,
They're going to have to do something like that.
something.
Yeah, they'll have to.
Another thing is, I saw a stat over the offseason that said manager Bruce Bochy has not had a good season after he's won a World Series. His teams have never done well after a World Series win.
Really?
The following year, yeah.
That's interesting.
What was the Rangers' record last year?
The Rangers' record last year, thank you for asking, was 78-84.
Interesting. I saw an article just in the last few days about the top 8 candidates who could go from having a losing record to making it to the playoffs, and Texas is one of those teams.
Oh yeah, I think they're right up.
I don't know. So in my opinion, Texas goes up, Houston goes down.
They, with the moves they made this offseason, they have to. I don't see how they could keep. But
I'm not sure they can overtake Seattle though. Seattle's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's a matter of how far does Houston fall, and how far does Texas go up, and it probably really does come down to that.
yeah. All right. So, do we think?
Seattle,
No, you go.
I think Seattle wins that division this year.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. I agree.
They definitely have a good chance to do that.
Rangers are give them a shot. Give them a run to the money. Go ahead.
Do we think that the Rangers will have better record than 78-84?
Oh, I think so.
I'll give them 80 plus.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll give them 80 plus.
Yeah, I do think they will have a better season as well.
Let me ask you this on that. Let me ask you this about that. What was Houston's record last year?
88-73.
Oh, okay, there it is. So, do we think that Houston will have less than 84 wins and Texas will have more?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Say it again.
Because that's what we're basically saying. Yeah, because Houston had 88, so they would have to have less than 84 wins this next year. And I think that is possible. It is possible.
Does anybody in that division get 90 wins?
Oh, man. I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Sir, you still haven't given us an answer. Are they going to be better or worse?
Houston?
No, Texas.
Texas. Yeah, they're definitely going to be better.
Well, I'll tell you this. According to ChatGPT, it is telling me that they are expecting the Rangers to have approximately between 85 and 89 wins. And that could win this division.
That could win that division. Yes, it could.
That definitely wins the division.
Yes, it could.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's going to be between the Rangers and the Mariners.
Yeah.
Which one has better pitch? Well, let's go to Seattle and see which one has better pitching.
Yeah, let's see. Seattle, what did they do this offseason? Seattle, they brought in Donovan Solano, Miles Mastrobuoni, and Jorge Polanco. And the subtractions from the team were Yimi Garcia, Josh Rojas, Luis Urias, and Justin Turner.
So I'm going to read what it says for the rotation under the Seattle Mariners for my little spot here. It says, for the second straight offseason, the Mariners were able to keep their incredibly talented pitching staff intact, and they will again lean on those arms in an attempt to break through to the postseason. So, you know what? If you didn't make many changes in your pitching, that tells me that you've got a pretty good staff. Because most people made a pretty considerable amount of changing in their pitching this year.
Yeah, the Mariners have one of the best, if not the best, rotation in all of baseball.
Yes, I agree. Interesting, we watched actually tonight, Seattle was playing the Padres in spring training, and the score ended up being 2-1. And I mentioned to Paul, I said, I think you're going to see that's going to be a typical score for Seattle, because Seattle offensively, that's probably their weakness, would be offense, but their pitching is going to overtake that.
Yes.
And I think a lot of one-run games. Seattle's going to win a lot of one-run games. I think they'll be close, but I think too Seattle have a great shot. Great shot.
Yeah. And did you read off their rotation, Paul?
No, I didn't.
Their rotation is Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Brian Wu. And their lineup is Victor Robles, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, Luke Raleigh, Mitch Haniger, J.P. Crawford, Jorge Polanco, and Dylan Moore. And notable arm from the bullpen, Andres Munoz. They rely solely on their pitching because not only does Seattle have one of the best pitching staffs, it's one of the hardest places to hit in all of baseball.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So they rely solely on pitching. So according to their record last year, their record last year was 85-77. Do we think that the Mariners will have a better or worse record next year?
If there is a team that has the potential to possibly get 90 wins, okay, I know we're saying we don't think any of them will, and I agree with you. But if there's one team that has at least a chance at getting 90, I would say it'd be Seattle.
Their pitching is, like I said, one of the best in the league. But their offense is hurting tremendously.
Yes, and what's funny is the statement underneath here says that they didn't make many, if any, significant offensive additions either.
Yeah.
Nope.
Which doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. What was that?
Good offensive players don't want to go there.
No.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
Well, that's true. That is part of it because of the stadium itself. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Could they win that division with less wins than they had last year?
No.
I'm going to keep them right around the same. I think the mid-80s is about what they're going to be.
I say they're going to be under 85.
He says under 85, which makes them less than that last year.
Do you have them winning the division with less than 85?
So you're saying the Rangers are going to take the division?
I'm saying the Mariners don't have enough offense to win.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
All right. I understand what you're saying. I mean,
so, sir, what are you thinking?
Based on what you're saying there, I could definitely see that the Rangers are going to take the division.
And then, do you think the Mariners will have a better or worse season?
Without making many moves, they have great pitching, so pitching will hold. I'll say they get a couple extra wins, but
yeah, no. Even if I can see them even getting a wild card, but I can't see them winning the division with the offense and the lineup that they have.
Yeah.
So just to tell you what that stadium's like, last year they had 49 wins at home. Okay. They only had 36 wins away. So they really, truly rely heavily on their home games.
And that's just because of their pitching.
Well, besides, like you said, it's hard to hit in Seattle.
Right.
I mean, it really is. So that's pretty amazing record at home. I mean, that's when you're
probably actually the wild card team in all of this conversation is the one we actually haven't talked about yet, is Houston, because that is such a big question mark as to what is going to happen with Houston. Are they going to fall drastically? Are they going to stay the same, or are they going to improve? They really probably are the wild card in all of this conversation, because depending on what they do, probably depends on the rest of that division.
Right. Well, particularly since they were only 3.5 games, Seattle was only 3.5 games away from Houston last year. So, yeah, they were tight last year. So it's not going to take much of a hiccup from either one of them to make a difference.
Right. And according to ChatGPT, they think the Mariners are going to win between 85 and 86. So either the same or one game better.
Well, we haven't done Houston
yet.
There is no way they're going to make Houston better with what all they.
They're the mystery team in the West. I'll tell you, they're the mystery team.
They truly are, and it's weird to say that considering how many consecutive ALCSs they were just in.
Yes.
That reign of terror is over.
So the moves in the offseason that they made, and there was a lot. They brought in Christian Walker, Isak Paredes, Hayden Wesneski, Ben Gamel, and Brendan Rodgers, and lost Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Yusei Kikuchi, Justin Verlander, Ryan Presley, Caleb Ferguson, Jason Hayward, and Kendall Graveman.
That is a minus list that is crazy.
It's probably the worst in baseball this year.
Yeah, and they basically gave all of those, the best guys that there, they basically gave them to Chicago for Isak Paredes.
And yet, amazing enough, they still have a pretty good lineup for having that many people gone. That's what's amazing.
They got Jose Altuve, Isak Paredes, Yordan Alvarez, Christian Walker, Yainier Diaz, Jeremy Pena, Chaz McCormick, Ben Gamel, and Jake Myers is their lineup. Their rotation right now is Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, Ronel Blanco, Spencer Aaron Getty, Hayden Wesneski, and a couple of notable names from their bullpen. Josh Hader, Brian Abreu, Taylor Scott, and former top prospect Forrest Whitley.
That is not a bad lineup.
I know. I mean, for who all they lost, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's fair to say their top six are pretty good.
If Houston does bad, how far do you think they'll fall?
Ooh.
I take back what I said about them a minute ago.
How far do they fall? I don't know.
I think they might still be in the running. That is a pretty good lineup still.
It is. It is a good lineup.
Now, I am shocked to read this. This says that they're not sure where Altuve is going to play, left field or second base.
I believe that's been solved.
And where is it at?
Second base. He's going back to second.
Okay.
That was if they were to re-sign Bregman.
Okay.
Or get Arenado.
Okay. Well, is Arenado still in the talk?
Still in trade talks.
That's what I thought.
I think the farthest Houston would fall would be in the third. I think it's going to probably come down to Seattle, Texas, and Houston. That's where your battle's going to be.
Yeah.
Is with those three.
Right.
I agree.
They'll be slugging against each other.
Right.
I think it's going to be pretty close between those three.
Right.
I expect it to be probably 5 or less games between those three at the end of the season.
It's going to be an exciting race to watch for sure.
It will be.
So
yeah, I'd say outside of NL East, this will be the division to watch as far as closeness.
So last season, the Astros were 88 and 73. Do they have 88 wins more than 88 wins or less than 88 wins?
Boy, it's a hard.
85.
I have less as well.
I think it's less. I do think it's less.
Even though I like the lineup, I still think they lost too much.
Yeah, so I said 85 for them. I said 85 for Texas and 85 for Seattle. So
it's a possibility.
I know.
It really isn't.
Really, it really could be that close.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 10 points different this year, and it was only 3 points between Seattle and Houston this past year. So, this could be, if Texas made enough improvement, they could definitely bring that up 5 games.
Oh, yeah. Because Texas would probably be the most improved team in that division.
100%.
Yeah, and Oakland would be second. So if I'm understanding, let me give... Okay, since we've gone through all of them, I'm going to give my prediction for the
Before you do that, just real quick, Chat GPT says the Astros will get 87 wins.
Oh man, so they have it very tight.
Well, it is very.
They have a very tight
very,
division.
Very tight. Yeah.
All right, so here's my prediction.
Looks like they're favoring the Astros though to win the division again. Is that correct?
I believe that's right. I believe that's what Texas had.
That's the most wins
So
I've
they
heard.
said that the Seattle is going to win between 85 and 86, and that the Rangers are going to win between 85 and 89.
Ooh, okay.
What do
86.
they call it?
87.
They're calling it
87.
Or 87. 87.
So are we in agreement that the bottom two teams are going to be Angels, then Athletics?
I think so.
Yes.
I really think so.
Yes. And I was going to start at the bottom with my predictions. And yes, I believe that's going to stay the same. I do believe both of them could inch up possibly a tiny bit. If anybody's going
that depends on Trout's health.
Exactly.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, it does.
So I'm going to predict LA might get 65 wins. They had 63 last year. I'll bring them up to 65. I'll bring Oakland above 70. And then after that, I'm going to go with Houston sliding down to third.
Oh.
I am. I'm going with Houston sliding down to third. And I do think they're going to be right at that 80 to 85 mark. And then Seattle and Houston are going to be right in that 85 to 89, somewhere in there. And I personally think that somehow the pitching is going to overall take it and Seattle's going to win it, the division. So that's my prediction. I could be totally wet, but to me, Texas did make some amazing moves.
What are you, Paul?
Did you say totally wet?
Did you just say you're wet?
Okay, calm down. Okay. Wow.
He's sweating in here.
Yeah, I'm sweating to the oldies in here. So, all right. So, since we have two here, I'll let him make his prediction for the division.
I'm going to make
on myself again.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here a little bit. I think if Trout stays healthy, and that, like, once again, it is so key that he stays healthy because they really are an improved team with him playing, no doubt. I think with him healthy, they'll overtake Oakland.
I agree with that.
I think they will with a healthy Trout. With a healthy Trout, I think they have enough wins to overtake Oakland. Anything beyond that is a bonus for them. Okay, it's a bonus for them.
Literally.
But I think Oakland, I think it's going to finish last. I think they will have more wins, but I think they'll finish last. The Angels will be next. These top three it's going to be a battle clear to the very end for those three. I think Houston, too, is going to fall. I don't think they're going to get first. I think they will get second.
Well, you got to have a third.
No, I know that. That's a tough one. I'm going to step out on a limb. I think Texas has the potential of taking that division. I really think they do. They have that potential of taking that division. So I'm going to say Texas, Houston, Seattle, Oakland, and the A's. And the A's, the Angels. It's a tough one.
The only thing I've convinced myself after just talking it out is that the Athletics are going to be last in the division and the Angels are going to be fourth. But and I think he just said that too. I have the same exact thing as him. I had Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, Angels, Athletics.
Yeah.
I think Texas wins the division.
Yep. I do too.
Sir?
Astros, Texas, Seattle. Texas and Seattle can flip-flop.
Yep.
I don't see the Angels improving enough to take over what will be a resurgent A's team playing in a minor league stadium. They're going to surpass the A's, and it's regardless of how well Mike Trout plays. One man can't carry the team. The rest of the supporting staff is just not good enough to rise up to the occasion. Trout demands a trade by the end of the season.
Well, you think so?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
wait, he demands a trade. He demands to stay. He wants to be a lifetime Angel. Oh, get it. Oh,
By
get
the
it.
way, he turns 34 in August.
Okay, that's my prediction. It doesn't matter to me how well Trout plays. Not a good enough supporting cast.
So we have one Seattle, two for Texas, and what did you say was winning the division?
I'm going Astros.
Oh, so two Houston, one Seattle, one Astros. That's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Very,
It's that
very,
close,
very
guys.
interesting.
It's that close, guys.
I
It's
can't
that
wait to
close.
hear Randy there, because if it's that close, it's interesting to hear everybody's opinion.
Let me see if I can text him real quick, just to see what he thinks. Who's winning the AL West?
Because that is a very tight division.
I do think if it comes down to pitching, out of those three teams, Seattle has the stronger rotation. Out
Seattle has the best rotation. I just don't think their lineup can do anything.
Yes, right.
The only guy that they really need something for is Julio Rodriguez, and he didn't have a.
That's right. Yeah.
And see, that's why I am putting them first, because I'm going with the pitching. I'm betting on pitching.
That's not a bad thing to bet on.
So
Let me ask you guys this: do you think all three of those teams could make it to the playoffs?
no.
No, I don't think so either. I think it would just be one of those teams.
Yeah, because they're not going to get 90 wins.
Yeah, I think it'd be
That's
just one of
why.
those teams.
Because they're not going to get 90 wins.
How many wild cards are there now? There's two, right?
40.
Yeah, there is. There's two.
There's 6 teams from each
there's 16
league.
from each
Oh, so
league.
there's 3 wild cards then, correct? 3 division winners and 3 wild
Yeah,
cards.
there must be. Right? Did we figure out there's
3
6?
division
Yeah.
winners, and then there's 3 wild cards. Yeah, they probably could. They could possibly get a wild card.
I see maybe one team getting one in the West. Otherwise, I think the East is going to get the other 2, possibly, because the AL East is stacked.
Well, I can tell you, this past year, the 3 came from the Central.
That was but they still have to face the White, because I looked at it, right? Because the teams from the Central that made it were Detroit, Kansas City, and Cleveland, which Cleveland was a division winner.
Right.
So there's a stat that if you take away the White Sox games, both Kansas City and Detroit still had records under 500.
Right. Well, see, that Central Division, all but White Sox played over 500.
Because they played the White Sox.
Whereas the division we just now went through, only 2 teams played over 500, and that was Houston and Seattle.
So, I mean, one will definitely, the West will definitely get one wild card spot.
Texas will definitely come up over 500.
Agreed.
But the other 2 will not. I do hope the Angels come up to at least 400 ball. My goodness, they played 389 last year, so I would hope they can play better than that.
I bet out of the West, my top 2 is the Texas teams make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they get a wild card spot. Oh, Randall just responded. He said, I asked him who's winning the AL West. He says the Rangers, because Bochy is an every other year specialist, like I was saying.
Wow.
Taking words out of my mouth, Randy.
That's right.
And he said, if Evaldi and DeGrom pitch well, they will win division by 10.
In games?
By 10 games, really?
10 games.
Wow.
That's bold. That's bold.
Guys, let me ask you guys this. When do you think will be the next time that the AL champion comes from the West?
It could be this season.
No.
I don't think it will, but it could. The Rangers could get hot again. Yeah.
I don't know.
Something special about that lineup. It's kind of broken up a little bit.
They have like the same lineup.
There's a couple key guys. That guy that played that position, the one.
Oh, the thing. The thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
So just starting off again.
I don't know about 10 above. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I can see where he's coming from as far as Texas taking the division.
Do you think Texas has the best offensive lineup from the West?
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's a question.
Ooh. No, I think Houston has a better lineup, personally.
Let me see something here.
Well, let me ask you this: who had the best as far as batting average from the West?
Well, I can tell you this.
Which team had the best last
runs scored last year? Now, I know last year was a bad year, but
Yeah.
Texas scored 683. Houston scored 740.
But Texas made a lot of additions.
They did.
Houston was the only team that had over 700, period.
And they lost Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman.
Yes. Yeah, I know that.
That's right.
I know that.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker's a big loss.
They're still pretty stacked. Wow. Yeah, Jake Peterson, Evan Carter, Dallas Garcia.
Actually, shame on them for not getting 90 wins last year with what they had.
Josh Young, Corey Seager, Jake Berger, Ezekiel Duran, Jonah Heim, a catcher.
And I meant Houston, by the way, for not getting 90 wins.
Yeah.
Mark
So
they're pretty stacked. Wow.
yeah, they have a stacked lineup, and if they click, they're winning the division, and I think they will. Randy sent me another text. He said, Astros are shot. Oakland, shame on him for saying Oakland. Angels got nothing. And the Mariners will be the only team that may stay close. He thinks it's a two-team race that the Rangers are going to blow the Mariners out of the water.
Wow.
All right, so let me ask this. So let's go with managers for just a minute.
Okay.
Who manages these teams?
Okay, so we have Bruce Bochy in Texas, and no longer Dusty Baker in Houston. Let me see. I have to look that up.
Because Bochy might have the most tenure of anybody there, I would guess. Bochy.
Yeah.
Bochy's won a World Series.
Bochy's won many World Series. The Houston Astros manager is Joe Espada. Texas is Bruce Bochy. Seattle is Dan Wilson. The Angels is Ron Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. He has some.
Okay.
He has some.
He was there last year too, though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And who's the other team? Athletics.
Oakland.
The
A's, yeah.
Mark Kotze.
So Bochy and Washington are the two that have the most tenure.
MLB manager coaching experience, yes.
Okay.
Randy says that the All Rangers are the bounce back years for all the guys that won it 2 years ago.
That's not off the chain.
That's not, man. That could very well be.
Not off. Speaking of nodding off.
Yeah, we see it. We don't need you to go sideways again. So on that note, we should probably wrap things up.
Yeah.
This
I think we're done.
In the Grounds Crew, episode 21, by the way. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Episode 21. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching us and can see us, you're on the YouTube. If you're just listening to us, you are on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And we are also on Instagram and TikTok. So subscribe, like, comment, follow, all that stuff. Send us your questions. And we'll see you in the next one.
More autographs to come.